facts, did you?
Objection asked and answered.
You chose not to try to clear your name at that time through any sort of legal proceeding, correct?
Objection asked and answered.
I'll sustain the objection.
And you chose to sign a divorce agreement in which you stated that Amber had not made any false statements about you for financial gain. We looked at that, correct?
Objection asked and answered.
Asked and answered. I'll sustain the objection. Next question.
In fact, you waited until Amber wrote the op-ed in the Washington Post in December of 2018 to file a lawsuit against her, correct?
That is correct.
Can you pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 2, please?
It was the only time that I
Permission
was
to
able
publish,
to
Your Honor?
speak and use my own voice.
You chose not to sue the Washington Post in this lawsuit, correct?
Exhibit 2 is an evidence.
Objection relevance asked and answered.
It's not been asked and answered.
Hasn't been asked and answered, but I'm not sure what the relevance is.
You chose to sue only Ms. Heard and not the newspaper that published this article, correct?
Objection compound.
All right. I'll sustain as to compound.
You chose not to sue the Washington Post, correct?
Objection relevance.
I'll sustain the objection.
You only sued the author of this article, Amber Heard, correct?
Which seems she was the one making the statements. Yes, I had the opportunity to fight back.
Permission to publish Exhibit 2, Your Honor.
All right. Exhibit 2 is already in evidence. So we'll
Mr. Depp, you realize that the only job for this jury to decide,
Yes, sir.
its only job, is to determine whether this op-ed and this op-ed alone is defamatory.
Objection calls for a legal conclusion.
I'll sustain the objection.
This is the only writing that that's the subject of this lawsuit that you brought, correct?
Same objection.
It's fact, Your Honor. He
I'll
only brought the
allow
lawsuit.
that question. I'll allow that question.
This is a version of that story of the op-ed that I have never seen. The one that was published before, the only one I've ever seen is the one that was published prior to this. They changed the title because they were in fear of trouble.
Well, I'd move to strike that last testimony, Your Honor.
Well, I mean,
Whether it's the online edition or this edition in the paper, this article is the only statement, the only publication of anything that's the subject of the lawsuit that you brought, correct?
Objection asked and answered.
I'll sustain the objection.
This op-ed, Mr. Depp, does not discuss any of the details of your relationship that we've seen in texts and emails and recordings over the past few days, does it?
Objection compound and asked and answered.
I'll sustain both objections.
In fact, this article doesn't contain any details of your relationship with Ms. Heard.
Objection asked and answered.
I'll sustain the
The
objection.
only thing that this article states, Mr. Depp, is that in 2016, Amber made accusations of domestic abuse. Correct.
it was clear that she'd made allegations in 2016.
And she
So
did that when
then,
she
yes.
obtained a restraining order against you in 2016, correct?
Yeah, I suppose, yes. Yeah,
And even if you disagree with the accusations that she made against you in May 2016, it is a true fact that she did make those accusations in 2016 and got a restraining order against you, correct?
Objection compound asked and answered.
Sustain the objections. Next question.
To your knowledge, the words that Ms. Heard used in this article about getting a restraining order against you in 2016, those are true, correct?
I'm sorry?
The words that Ms.
Ms.
Heard
the
used.
document.
All right, I'll sustain the objection. You want-
Can you go to the third paragraph? Blow up the third paragraph, please. The statement that then 2 years ago, Ms. Heard became a public figure representing domestic abuse, that is true, isn't it?
I'm not sure what we're looking at.
Objection
Oh, I see it.
calls for a legal conclusion.
So I'll sustain the objection. I'll
his
sustain the objection.
And in 2016, for the first time publicly, Ms. Heard accused you of domestic abuse, correct?
In 2016?
Yes.
That's correct.
No further questions.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, why don't we go ahead and take our morning recess for 15 minutes? Do not do any outside research and do not talk to anybody about the case, okay? We'll come back in 15 minutes.